Hi guys, welcome to the Confused Millennial Podcast. I'm Rachel, your host and the blogger behind theconfusedmillennial.com. Woo! Welcome to episode 1 of the Confused Millennial Podcast. I am thrilled that you are here. So, what is this podcast going to be about? Let's jump off from there. So for a really long time, I have been wanting to find new ways to grow the blog and really connect with you guys. So really think of this channel as the Confused Millennial audio experience. So yeah, we will have traditional elements of a podcast. So there will be episodes where I'm talking to you guys by myself. Sometimes I'll have a co-host or a co-guest. My husband will be joining us to bring us some of that male perspective on different things. And you guys will get to meet him later on this episode. But the other thing that'll be in this channel is the blog post will actually be read to you guys with an intro, outro, going a little bit deeper than just the blog post itself, as well as kind of more of what was actually happening in my life when I decided to write this, maybe some other reader questions that came up in the comments from that blog post. And so really just kind of bringing those one-dimensional pieces into a fuller, well-rounded, life-size perspective, if you will. So launching this podcast has actually been pretty scary of an experience for me. So in case you don't know the story behind how I launched the blog, I want to share that first, and then we'll get into why this has been a scary experience for me. So a lot of you guys probably know I was fired twice in under a month back in 2014 from working as a therapist in substance abuse treatment centers in South Florida. And I was really good at my job, but both times I got fired because I was so miserable to work with. And when I got a call the day after I got fired the second time saying, "Oh, we heard you're available. Will you come work for us?" I found the strength in that moment to say no, because I knew I had to listen to every fiber in my being that was telling me to get out of this industry. I always kind of joke I manifested getting fired because I was so dead set on not quitting. I had spent the last 4 years getting my master's degree. I thought I was too young to branch off on my own, and I thought I needed a 9-to-5. And so I was really kind of like white knuckling this experience of a career that was so not working for me. So when I say I manifested getting fired, it was really the universe doing for me what I couldn't do for myself at that time. And when I started getting job offers that following week, I started turning them down, and I sat down with my husband. At the time, he was my boyfriend, and we wrote out all of the characteristics and qualities in my dream job. So number 1 was being able to watch the Ellen show every day. And number 2 was being able to help people. And there's a bunch of other things on the list. And at the time, what I decided to do was take my experience as a counselor and what I saw my clients struggling with as they would transition from being in inpatient treatment centers into outpatient, and then having to deal with all of the adulting responsibilities, and turn it into a life skills curriculum. And so I took 2 months at the end of 2014 to do all this research and wrote out a 200-page life skills curriculum that covered everything from your finances to groceries, health and wellness, communication and relationships, vocational skills. This just really well-rounded guide that probably has a lot of similarities to the blog today, but we'll get there. And what I did was I started telling people in my network, hey, I have this curriculum. It's really for that transitional piece when people are starting to enter the halfway house. I'd love to come into your treatment center and run a group on it once a week. And if you have any one-on-one clients that need extra support, I'm available. And I got my first treatment center about a week after I put out feelers into my network that I was going to be doing this. And from there, it grew. Word of mouth really took off. I was super fortunate that first year in business for myself, I made my exact salary that I did when I had a 9-to-5, and I was working about a third of the time. So that was amazing. But even with that said, I was traveling all over town. So I was driving 45 minutes to go run an hour group and then 45 minutes back. So $150 for the hour was then turning into $50 an hour with all the travel time. And I knew my business could not keep going on like that. I knew I couldn't grow like that. I knew it wasn't a really sustainable business model. So I looked into bringing my business online. And so it was about 2000 and I don't even remember the timelines now, to be honest. So it was about a year after launching that business, so I guess 2015, where I decided to hire a business coach online to help me launch Ritlop.com and offer my coaching services digitally. And that experience was definitely a learning experience, both in how to find a coach that actually is right for you, what to do when they're not working out so well for you. And that's probably another podcast episode in itself. But it was a really, truly beautiful experience. And I'm happy that it was exactly what it was, because it was through this experience that I realized I was once again building a career based off of somebody else's dream. I was really set that I was going to be a career and business coach. I really thought that that's what I wanted. I started putting together all my marketing materials and my messaging, and I realized that none of it was actually truly who I was. I realized I was still clawing, trying to figure out what I was trying to say and what I wanted to put out into the universe, and everything kind of came to a head in early 2016. Where I was crying to my husband one morning after we had just gotten back from LA. And I remember just saying to him, I'm just another confused millennial and I have no idea what I'm doing with my life. And as soon as the words left my mouth, it was like a lightning, it was like a lightning rod, not a light bulb. It was a lightning rod. Went off inside of me and shook me to the core. And I grabbed my laptop and I typed in the domain and saw it was available for purchase. So I purchased it. And within 48 hours, I designed the logo, built the first website, and hit publish with 4 blog posts. And I had a little bit of traction in the digital community because of the time I had spent building Ritlop.com for the few months prior to that. And the response I got was immediately overwhelmingly beautiful. People were so craving the initial blog posts, and I will include links to them in the quote-unquote show notes of this on the blog for you guys if you're interested, to what those first blog posts were. And they were very raw and authentic and not angry, but they were just kind of cutting through the BS, to be honest. And I didn't expect the blog to take over my life. I had in the back of my mind wanted to start a blog for quite a few years up to that point, but I was used to always playing things safe and I was used to having a plan, and this was very on a whim. And I think that's been making launching the podcast so scary in a sense, because I made the decision to do it and I kept feeling like I needed to have a plan, but I kept not knowing what that plan was going to be. And so finally I was talking to one of my good girlfriends, Catherine from slightlysavvy.com, and I realized I just needed to wing this thing. So it's going to unfold, and I have some ideas of what I'd like this to be, but it's really going to unfold exactly how it's supposed to, just like the blog has these last 2 years. I've been very fortunate that the blog ended up taking over my business, and I do still offer coaching and consulting services. As you guys, if you have followed me for a while, know I don't really go around super advertising those because it's all very word of mouth, and I've been fortunate to just work with some of the most amazing clients, and watching them flourish and succeed has been such a joy. But for me, the blog has been really about finding my voice, figuring out who I am again, and has been a stepping stone to kind of a larger brand that I hope to build. And so the podcast, while winging it, was also really scary for me to launch because I do want it to succeed. I do want it to provide value for you guys. And I also want it to really reach more people. So it'll be a learning journey. It'll be a learning experience. And I hope that you guys will stick with me. And just like so many of you guys have stuck with me through TCM's growth, I'm really excited. March 2018 marks 2 years of doing it with over 60,000 followers a month following along this journey with me. And I can't thank you guys enough from the bottom of my heart, because I'm winging this. I am now recording this in February. Not totally sure when it's actually going to get published and go live. I am going to try to line it up with a giveaway I'm doing for the blog's 2-year anniversary. So anyone that goes ahead and leaves a review on iTunes for this will get entered into the giveaway as 5 entries. And you guys will also be able to, if you go to theconfusedmillennial.com and find the blog post on launching this podcast, there will be additional ways to enter the giveaway as well. And with that, I want to bring my husband on so you guys can get to know him a little bit, because he will be joining me hopefully once a week, but maybe once a month. We'll see how schedules line up, answer some of your questions, to share some of his journey and his insight. And I'm really excited to do that because he has been such a large part in my entrepreneurship journey and my self-growth. So instead of me always talking about him in the blog or on my Instagram, you guys will actually get to meet him. Before we bring Eric on, I do want to ask you guys for your compassion as you listen to the next part of this interview. It was the first time that we were co-recording using the same equipment, so there were some kinks to be worked out. There's a couple points where we talk over each other and it's a little staticky. We did sort that out for future interviews, although there is one more where we were still getting used to the equipment. So thank you in advance for your compassion, and I do hope that you listen all the way through because it's really not that bad, but I wanted to throw it out there that that is not the quality of future episodes. So without further ado, let's welcome Eric.
Thanks for having me, Rach. So most of you probably know me by the letter E. Full name's Eric Dresdale. Hail from Long Island, New York. I'm 34 years old, which puts me in that Zennial category. So kind of understand the millennial thing, kind of understand the Gen X thing, a little old school mixed with a little new school. Really use social media to troll other people's accounts, but really don't understand how to use it beyond scrolling through my news feed.
You don't troll other people's accounts. What are you saying?
I troll the news feed.
I love you.
Is that not what trolling is? See, this is the disconnect. I'm learning more about this, which is why I'm excited she started the Confused Millennial, because it gets me in touch with my millennial side. Anyway, as I said, I hail from Long Island, New York. Ended up going to school at Indiana University. Go Hoosiers. Was there from 2001 to 2005, and then came back to the city, New York City, that is, after got into commercial real estate. And I was doing that for 7 years. About 5 years into it, got into painkillers. That was a combination of a whole bunch of things. I mean, I had some pain excuses, but really I was in an unhealthy relationship. A mentor of mine fell ill, felt like I was all alone and abandoned and standing on the sidelines. And what started off, I believe, as, self-medicating turned into a beast of its own.
We're going to do another episode on addiction.
Yeah, we don't need to get into the nitty-gritty of it. Let's keep this positive. We can go down that road another time. But I ended up waving the white flag, wrote a really emotional letter to my mother after I got fired from my last job, and got sent down to Florida. Spent 4 years. 4 years.
That would be a really long time.
That'd be a really long time. It wasn't that bad. Spent 4 months in treatment. And when I got out, I took a humbling job and saw an opportunity to start a new company. And just after I'd started that is when I met Rachel. I was about to move out to Los Angeles, and luckily I made the right decision and decided to stay.
Thank goodness.
Thank the Lord. And I built that company up over 5 years, successfully sold it last July 2016. And over the past year and a half, really been working for somebody else, which has been an interesting transition after spending 5 years being my own boss. So we'll talk a little bit about navigating that life as well. But yeah, in addition to that, I do some consulting on the side, and now live my life vicariously through Rachel and her entrepreneurial endeavors.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to start this together because Eric was so instrumental in my career. He was really like the person to thank for all this, because I don't know if I would have had the confidence to really just keep pushing forward. I think I would have stayed in that kind of worker bee 1-2 marching forward life and just thinking like this was all that there was, and it's okay that I'm miserable because everyone's miserable in their career. So I'm excited that he can kind of bring some of that grounding, that entrepreneurial spirit, and help kind of answer some of your questions, which is one of the biggest things I'm excited about for this podcast. Is a lot of you guys send me emails that I don't necessarily I can't necessarily turn them into Ask Rachel pieces on the blog. So what we're going to try to do is answer 1 to 4 of your questions each week, as well as some other fun things that we have planned that I'm not going to tell you guys about quite yet. So, and I like the fact that it's going to be that male-female perspective, because while we do typically agree on a lot of stuff and how we tend to approach it a little bit differently. So I like giving that kind of different perspective from my side and from his side.
Yes, and I'm quite feminine too, so it's not the macho male perspective.
Yeah, can you?
It's more of the metro male perspective.
Can you tell everyone I don't force you to put the face masks on in my Instagram feed? That's all you.
Oh yeah, I gotta age gracefully here.
I love it. So we're super excited about that. What else do you hope to get out of, accomplish, or give back with this, Eric?
Well, selfishly, I hope to get rid of some of my vulnerabilities, or not really get rid of, but be more vulnerable. I get weird in front of cameras. I get weird talking to microphones when nobody's there. So this is kind of cool, because it's kind of like talking out to the universe.
It is.
Yeah, and what's cool is, we get to hear back from you guys when we put it out there. I'm hoping to become more vulnerable, be more comfortable in expressing my thoughts and opinions to somebody outside of the dog and Rachel. Hopefully I can share some insights, mostly from mistakes I made in my life. I've had some successes, but, the best teachings come from our biggest failures. And I've had quite a few of those. Hopefully we can give you a little bit more insight into our relationship. We spend a lot of time communicating, understanding each other. Our way is not the right way for everyone, but I think we've established a really cool foundation for what works for us, and hopefully we can give you some more insights into that, because a lot of people can look at pictures on the web and just be like, oh, look, it's like a magazine, it's all fake. No, we really do have an incredible dynamic together. So in addition to entrepreneurship, hopefully we can touch on a little bit of our relationship.
Yeah.
And have some fun along the way, because I got some stuff that you probably laugh at me for, so,
Fart boy story, not today.
Yeah, we can get into Fart Boy.
But yeah, so I'm excited. I know a lot of you guys have probably maybe read my blog post from January 1st, where I talk about a lot of the spiritual journey I'm starting to embark on. So we'll probably kick off next week's episode with our experience of the Reiki circle and letting you guys know what December 2017 actually looked like for me behind the scenes that led to opening this, beautiful, crazy spiritual box that I've now kind of fallen even deeper into. And then really, I encourage you guys to tweet me at TC Millennial, email me, Rachel at theconfusedmillennial.com, any questions, topics, themes that you guys would like to see on this. Because even though it's us talking, it's just as much your podcast as well. And we want to figure out how to best serve you guys. And I'm really excited.
I'm super stoked.
Thank you guys so much for listening to episode 1. As always, you can find more content at theconfusedmillennial.com, and make sure to follow me on Instagram, The Confused Millennial, and on Pinterest and Twitter at TC Millennial. And as a reminder, if you guys subscribe, rate, and review this podcast on iTunes, that will enter you into our current giveaway that we have going on celebrating 2 years of The Confused Millennial. Just send me a screenshot of that review to Rachel at theconfusedmillennial.com, and that email is also where you can submit any questions you'd like answered on the podcast. Talk to you guys soon.